It is time for our Sunrise Smart Start this morning. A teenager hospitalized after a shooting early this morning in Rochester. Police responded to the area of Central Park around 4 a.m. for the report of shots fired. When they got there, a 16-year-old girl approached them with at least one gunshot wound. She was taken to the hospital and is being treated with a non-life-threatening injury. No suspects are in custody. If you have any information about this shooting, you're asked to call 911. Well, Rochester police have made an arrest in a triple shooting from over the weekend. 36-year-old Theron Robinson is facing multiple charges, including assault and criminal possession of a weapon after multiple people were shot on Salina Street Saturday. Two of the victims are in critical condition. A third victim was treated and released. Remembering those who gave their lives for our freedom on this Memorial Day. State guidance coming out just in time for many planned events to take place. Erica Cost live this morning with more on this. Erica, good morning.
Good morning, Mark. And when the town of Greece canceled their parade back in May, they had so much backlash from town residents. In the day later, they came back and they said it's happening. And that's exactly what's happening later this morning. It's on the reason for initially canceling, ever-changing state guidance and erring on the side of caution, they say. Greece Town Supervisor Bill Rylick says the outcry of disappointment from town residents was a major contributing factor to that. Along with that, he says state guidance became more clear on where outdoor festivals stand. As for COVID-19 regulations, he says they'll be trusting the town residents to wear their mask if they're unvaccinated. Both the parade and ceremony will be happening this morning at 11 a.m.
We are so fortunate here in the Rochester area in Monroe County to have Dr. Mike Mendoza as the public health director for the county. And he's really been very open with his desire to see outdoor safe activities be allowed to proceed. So the health department has made themselves available to consult with any of us municipalities.
Now, the town of Brighton is also having some smaller plans later this afternoon at 2 p.m. Here at Veterans Memorial in Buckland Park. In Brighton, Erica Cost, News 8.
All right, Erica, thank you. The parade in Greece will start at 11 o'clock this morning on Janes Road. And as Erica mentioned, the ceremony in Brighton begins at 2 o'clock at the Veterans Memorial at Buckland Park. Well, community members in Irondequoit remembering 37-year-old Lisa Schuler, who was found dead on Culver Road last Tuesday. Officers are still looking for a person of interest, 40-year-old Seth Larson, who they say fled the area to Maryland. Those who knew Schuler say it's been difficult hearing the news of her death.
She was just a great person, you know, always having a smile on her face, you know, always a good person. Started reading the details of the case, and I haven't been able to sleep. Have not been able to sleep since. It's really tough.
And police are still asking for help solving this case. If you have information, you're asked to call 911. Well, today marks 100 years since a massacre in Tulsa, Oklahoma, one of the worst acts of racial violence in our nation's history. It left a prosperous black community there in ruins. Hundreds of people were killed in those attacks, with thousands left homeless. Also called Black Wall Street, those currently in the neighborhood are seeking reparations for the damage that was caused to the once thriving community. In Tennessee, recovery efforts extended through the weekend after a small Cessna crashed into a lake. 7 people on board were killed in that crash about 20 miles southeast of Nashville. Among the victims, diet guru and church leader Gwen Lara and her husband, actor Joe Lara. Well, Elio Castroneves has tied the record for the most Indy 500 wins in Formula One history. Castroneves capturing his 4th Indy 500 Sunday. The race, typically run every Memorial Day weekend, was pushed back to August last year because of the pandemic. 135,000 fans were at the Brickyard to see that historic event Sunday. State Park Police rescuing a 3-year-old black Labrador that fell about 200 feet into the gorge at Letchworth State Park yesterday. A rescue team geared up and went down to save that stranded dog. You see the images here. The adorable canine suffering a broken leg and some minor injuries, but we're happy to report is doing okay and is now back with its owner. All right, James Gilbert, folks getting up on this Memorial Day, wondering what's the weather going to be like, and maybe some folks have plans to hit the links even.
Yeah, right. I think we've got fast greens today. It's been pretty dry lately, so just nice and soft, nice and easy as you hopefully can hit them straight this afternoon. Temperature starting off cold for the morning round, maybe even light jacket, or we'll call it long sleeve worthy to start off the day. But by lunchtime, we're in the mid-60s, and if you're away from Lake Ontario, you're good. You're in the lower 70s, but along Lake Ontario, some of those shoreline courses will be a little on the cooler side. Watch out. UV is up there, all the way up to 8. We'll have a look at your extended forecast at the end of the show. Mark.
All right, James, grab the sunscreen. Thank you. To our Family First segment now. As we wrap up Stroke Awareness Month, we are sharing an inspiring story this morning. It's about a high school baseball player who never expected to be sidelined by a rare type of stroke. Leah Lando has more.
16-year-old Robbie Boyce is thankful to be back in the game after suffering a major stroke just months ago.
I'm so excited to be able to be on the field, help out my team.
Essentially what happened was he was working out and he had an artery in his head give out.
People that have this rare type of stroke called the subarachnoid hemorrhage typically have an aneurysm that ruptures at the base of the brain.
Robbie had to be flown to the Cleveland Clinic and taken into surgery.
We were able to cure the aneurysm, so he had no further bleeding in the brain. We actually just had to sacrifice the artery by putting these small little coils in the artery to block the blood flow.
I truly did not really understand how severe it was or how scary it was until Dr. Bain had said, you know, look, he's the sickest patient we have in the ICU.
His right side was paralyzed, but as his brain healed, movement slowly returned.
His right toe finally moved in the 19th day. You do a lot of thinking as a parent. You're like, you know, what about quality of life?
He spent a month in the ICU and 2 months in rehab. Today, he is back at school, playing piano and baseball with his friends and family cheering him on. Even Josh Naylor, a Cleveland Indians outfielder.
I'm just so proud of you. Just keep pushing forward, or you got this.
There's a lot of people out there rooting for you. You just have to believe in yourself and keep working as hard as you possibly can.
If people ever ask, like, if miracles exist, Robbie Boyce is a miracle, and he must have a guardian angel following him, because it's unbelievable where he's at today.
And again, that was Leah Lando reporting. If you missed any of our Family First segments, head to rochesterfirst.com. Time now for the GRE Morning Business Report. More Americans shifting their spending priorities, according to the Commerce Department. Consumer spending ticking up about 0.5% in April. Households shelling out more for dining and travel as COVID restrictions ease and more people are vaccinated. Microsoft warning Russian hackers have targeted more than 150 agencies this week in another major cyber attack. The tech giant says the Russian group gained access to nearly 3,000 email accounts after sending phishing emails that appeared legit. A chunk of the victims were in the U.S. and tied to humanitarian organizations. The same hackers are believed to be behind last year's SolarWinds cyber attack. All right, well, from solar wind to the real deal, maybe a little wind on this Memorial Day to blow the American flag up there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of parades happening this year, unlike last year, which is nice to see. And I think it should be a perfect day to be out in a parade. But if it is this morning, then I think you're kind of sitting down and maybe feeling the cooler air hanging out with you. But otherwise, I got the 8-day forecast on your screen as we also plan for the rest of the week. We see temperatures hanging in the mid-70s just about every day. Best chance for rain Wednesday, Thursday. We've got 80s by next weekend.
All right, a warm-up coming, James. Thank you. That's it for us for now here on Sunrise. Our next update coming up in about 30 minutes. CBS This Morning is up next. Be safe and have a great Memorial Day.
Follow News 8 wherever you are on rochesterfirst.com, Facebook, Twitter, and on our app for news and weather.